This is like really for anybody who's ever felt like a misfit. Am I Hispanic? Am I black? Am I white? It's not supposed to be perfect. It's okay. I don't know if it's my pillows. Anyways, hey guys, how are you? Hope you guys are doing well. I hope everything's okay. I'm here to talk about my story. I subconsciously started my channel because I knew I kind of wanted to get to a point where I would be able to talk about my life story, hopefully to reach other people and maybe help them in their life. I have gone through a lot of things in my life, and I want to use my platform in order to bring awareness to these situations, and hopefully find people that I can relate to. As much as I like doing curly hair content, I don't feel like that is my main purpose and what I should be doing on this channel. I feel like I should be talking about what has happened in my life, just to reach people that have gone through the same things, just so that we're not all feeling like we're alone. Because a lot of my life I've grown up, I've felt like I've been alone, and like only I understand what I'm going through because I'm the only person that's ever gone through this. And you know, we all go through something, we're all struggling with something, and I feel like I'm tired of hiding, I'm tired of putting myself down, I'm tired of living in fear. Like once I got to the point that I even created my YouTube channel, I wanted to soft launch things and talk about little things and get people to, like, you know, have fun or whatever. But at the same time, I don't want people mindlessly watching my channel. I don't want you to forget about your problems and have to deal with them later. I feel like we are in a society where we're just taking in so much information online and, like, you know, putting our problems to the side and worrying, okay, we can deal with this tomorrow, we can do this tomorrow, when in all actuality, like, we should be trying to fix these things on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. You know, I don't want to forget about these things because they've made me who I am and got me to where I am now. So as I said earlier, I started my channel subconsciously, wanting to get to this part where I would feel comfortable enough to share my story. But I got scared. I started feeling like, oh, like certain people are not going to understand, and certain people are going to say certain things and it's going to bother me and whatever. But I think that was just me, like, trying to find an excuse to not do this. And I don't know, I'm over it already. I kind of want to find my people, find people that I can relate to, and hopefully this does get to the right people. So this does have a beginning, middle, and end. There's a story here. There is what I want you guys to learn from this, and like what I learned from this, and overall just where my channel is going to be going from now on. So growing up, my mom, and we're going to name my dad, who I call my dad, Freddie. My mom and my dad were together up until I was 7 years old. We lived in DR for a couple of years, so I've always attached myself to the Dominican culture. I've always felt like I'm more Dominican than I am my mom's side of the family, which is Brazilian. My mom's side, it's not that I never hung out with them or anything, it's just I just always felt more aligned with being Dominican, especially like loving the food and the culture, and that's just where I came from. That's just how I grew up. So my mom and my dad break up when I'm 7 years old. I stopped talking to my dad for a couple of years, in and out. He would come sometimes and sometimes not, you know, just regular family problems that really isn't the point of this video. So I get into high school, I'm in 9th grade, and I get into this Catholic school, which was the hell of my life, the bane of my existence. I hated being in Catholic school. To me, it was the dumbest thing ever, because not that I'm not social with women, it's just I found it stupid that my mom had to pay for me to go to school when there was like public schools in New York that are amazing, which I ended up going to. The only reason why I didn't go to a public school straight from middle school was because I didn't get accepted to the school that I wanted to go to, and I wasn't going to go to the school that I had actually gotten accepted to. So I was like, yeah, let me just go to this school that's down the block from my house. So this school that I went to was like 3 blocks down. I went to Mount St. Ursula. It was like 3 or 4 blocks down. I used to walk to school. Met a couple of friends that I'm still friends with now, but that just wasn't the place for me. So I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. Like, I don't want my mom paying for this. Not that we were struggling financially, but it was just a lot of money, and I didn't think that my mom should be spending it, especially in 9th grade. I wanted her to use that money when I was in college. I go to the school that I had originally got accepted to, because in order to transfer from, like, in that semester, like your first semester, you have to go to the school that they had given you in the first place. So I went there. It was hell on earth, actually. Like, Mount St. Ursula was okay compared to this school. The school that I went to was for people who kind of are like an accelerated program basically. So I was in school, I was 15 years old in school with kids that were 19, 20 years old, and like it just wasn't for me. Like I didn't have any friends. I mean, I had a couple friends, but like it just wasn't the vibe. Like I knew I wasn't meant to be there because I was only 15 years old. Like, you know, I don't need to be in an accelerated program. I want to be in regular high school. I stood there for my second semester of high school. 3 weeks in, I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. So they helped me with the transfer process. They gave me the tools that I needed in order to transfer to the school that I actually wanted to go to, which was Manhattan Village Academy. That was my dream school all my life. Like when I was in middle school, like my middle school and my high school that I ended up going to for the rest of my time, they were like the same, just like with older things and different curriculum. But like the same kids that were in my middle school always got into my high school. Like it was just, I don't know, like, you know, one of those things that, and they were super far apart from each other. Like one was uptown all the way in like 215th Street, and the other one was on 23rd Street or 22nd Street. But whatever. I ended up getting accepted there. I was ecstatic. Like I knew my life was gonna get much better because I've never hated school. I've always loved school. I've always loved the instant validation of like writing a paper and like getting a great grade on it, you know. I've always loved that. I've always loved being around people my age and socializing and like, you know, just being in the right place. So I finally get in, whatever. I'm able to talk to my mom about this, whatever. I'm really excited. They had like this summer bridge program that I had to go to. So it was supposed to be like to get 8th graders ready to get into 9th grade, but I was already in 9th grade, so I was coming from 9th grade to 10th grade to this school. Now in this school, it was very hard. Like it's a very hard school. It's not only Regents, it's also like portfolio, but the portfolio has to be like amazing. So I'm there, so I'm with a whole bunch of 8th graders that are about to be 9th graders, and I'm a 9th grader going into a 10th grader. And I actually met some girl there that I was like really close with until the ending of 10th grade, which I'll get into that story like another time. So whatever, point is I started finally feeling like I belong here. Like, you know, I'm a really good student. I work really hard. Like I like being in school, and this is the school for me. This is the dream of my school. This is the dream of my school. This is the school of my dream. Sorry, I'm getting nervous because we're getting to the part that's like a little bit scary. It was around this time when my mom had pulled me to the side one day. We always used to have like talks on her bed, and she would always like call me over and like we would talk about things like, you know, like the sex talk and, you know, not fighting and what I'm gonna do and where I want to go in life or whatever. You know, my mom always had those kinds of conversations with me. So she pulled me over. This wasn't nothing new. She was like, I have something to tell you. And I was like, okay, like what's up? And so she's like, what if I told you your dad is not your dad? Right when she said that to me, everything just started playing in my mind. Certain things like, you know, I never felt like I looked like anybody. And growing up, everybody always used to say that I was adopted compared to like my other siblings. Because my other siblings, I'll put a picture here, they're white, okay? And I'm not the darkest that I am because it's obviously winter, but I get extremely dark because I am a melanated person. And my siblings, they just get like sunburnt. Except for my little brother, he gets like sun-kissed. Like his tan is just beautiful. But the other two, like my other two siblings, they're white. Like they look white. Like if you see them, like you think that they're actually like just white. Like they're not white passing, they're just, they look white. So my brother and his side of his family, like with his dad and whatever, they always used to say that I was adopted because I am darker than my mom. But it always made sense because my dad, Freddie, was dark. So I always said, no, like, you know, my dad is dark and my mom is light, so it made me. It was always like a thing that bothered me because it just wasn't funny. So when my mom said that to me, I was like, okay, like I can see why people look at me like I'm crazy for saying that I'm not adopted. But in all actuality, I did adopt a life, pretty much. So I never felt like I looked like anybody on his side of the family. I just felt like I looked like my dad because, I don't know, like I just grew up with him. And I guess, like, you know, being next to somebody so much, like you start thinking that you look like them. Like I always said, oh, I have my mom's body, because sort of I kind of do, you know. But by the time that she was my age, she already had like 3 kids. So I mean, not really, but sort of I see it. I do have my mom's eyes compared to my biological father, so like there's that. But I kind of do look like my biological father, but whatever. Anyways, in my mind I was like, it wouldn't be too far off, just because, you know, there has been secrets in my family that have died in people's grave, you know, like there's secrets that you wouldn't even be able to imagine. And this is like the first secret that I guess my mom was feeling able enough to tell me. So when she said that, I started putting two and two together, and I was like, okay, yeah, like I kind of could believe that. Like, okay. She was like, do you want to know anything? And I'm like, not really. And at this moment in time, I kind of had difficulty expressing myself, even up until like a couple of days ago that I've been trying to film this video, and I just can't really find the words because I just didn't know how I wanted it to go. But I didn't want to know more about my biological father because I didn't want to take away from my actual father, you know? Like, although he had been like MIA a couple of years here and there, he was still my dad. Like, I never felt like, you know, he wasn't my dad. Although my mom always made sure like we had everything and everything was always like okay, I just didn't want to throw my dad like in the garbage. Like, I didn't feel like I should just find this new man to cover up like seat when the seat was actually taken already. So I kind of like pushed it aside. I started high school, and like, you know, I always keep that in the back of my mind, like I'm actually not who I say I am. Like, I feel like I'm lying. And like, I met my best friend that I've been best friends with since high school. We had like a rough start in the beginning. We finally became best friends, and her and I was able to like tell her like the truth and stuff, and I kind of felt like a relief of like telling her. But looking back, I didn't want to tell anybody about my real dad because it would take me out of my clique. It would take me out of fitting in with people after not fitting in for so long, you know? And by so long, I mean like, especially in that second high school that I went to with all these old kids that like didn't want to be in school. Like, I wanted to be in school. I like being in school. Like, this wasn't cool to me, you know? It wasn't cool. I never cut school. I cut school one time, and it was to go to a dentist appointment. And I obviously had an excuse letter or whatever, but on my way over there, like the first time I ever did this, the truancy people, like they stopped me, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to the dentist. And like they took me to the dentist and everything, like to confirm that I had an appointment. But I wasn't a bad kid when it came to school, you know? Yes, I would fight and stuff, but my school grades and everything was always good. So I'm like, I don't want to leave my clique. Like, I don't want them to think that I'm different than them or weird or anything, because I already had different things about me. Like, there's something else that I will share hopefully at the end of this video, but I was already weird, so I didn't want to be more weird. Like, I don't know how to explain that. In hindsight, I understand that I just wanted to fit in, and I just wanted to feel like I was accepted, you know? Like, yes, I'm Dominican. Like, I'm Dominican and Brazilian. Like, that's my mom, that's my dad. Like, okay, like I lived in DR. Like, you know, I am Dominican. It's that simple. I kind of kept that to myself until I started feeling really comfortable with my friends, and I was able to tell them these things, and they really didn't treat me any different, which I thank them for. But it was a really big step for me because I hadn't accepted it. So, you know, as time goes on, I asked my mom, like, okay, who is my dad and what does he look like and where is he actually from? Like, what's his nationality? Like, you know, and she's like, oh, he's Jamaican. I'm like, what? I'm actually Jamaican? Like, that makes much more sense than me being Dominican, because yes, I have curly hair. Yes. And yes, I do appear to be Dominican. Yes. But I look more like from the West Indies, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I not to be vain or anything, because this isn't about like any of that. It's just, I feel like I fit in there. Like, I feel like I look like that. But then, since I didn't grow up with the culture, since I don't know much about my father's side of the family, I've just always stood with the idea that I'm Dominican, you know? Even till this day, I still tell people I'm Dominican, because it's really like not any of anybody's business. And it's just a long story that I don't like to get into with people. I really don't like to sit here and tell people like, yeah, I have a dad and I grew up in DR and like this is my father, but I also have another dad and he's Jamaican. And yeah, because I know more about this culture than I do about being Jamaican. I finished high school, everything's all cool. Like, you know, I still have my friends. Like, my best friend and I are still close. Everything is cool. Like, I don't feel like an outcast. In 2017, I went to DR with my best friend for like 3 months, and it was the best time of my life. Why? Because I've always loved the Dominican culture, like I've been saying. You know, it was just great. Like, we were living life like if we were billionaires. It was just one of the most good trips with friends, because even now I can go on trips with friends and it never feels like that. You know, sometimes you just look back and you're like, wow, like I really had an amazing time. I really did. Like I was treated with so much care, so much love. It was just great. And everybody over there, you know, thought I was Dominican, because that's all I say. I don't tell anybody. I don't need to tell anybody. It's just my secret, you know. But I'm kind of tired of the secret. I think that going on forward, I'm just gonna tell people I'm Dominican and Jamaican. Like that's it. Like just, I'm not even Brazilian, because I don't have anything over there. Like I've never been. I don't know anything about the culture. Like maybe I can dance or whatever, but I still say that that's like my Jamaican side, because I got rhythm. And my brothers, they don't got no rhythm. Especially like my two brothers, like zero rhythm. When I went to DR, I had come back. I met this guy who ended up being my boyfriend for like 4 years. And I had to start that whole thing again, where I had to get comfortable with somebody to then tell them my secret and all of that. So in doing so, I was able to speak with him and realize all of these things that I'm telling you guys. You know, not all of it, because up until now I never decided to even make that video, and I've been on YouTube now for like almost 2 years. I make 2 years in April. I start talking to him and I start developing things, and like I start developing my own questions. I'm like, I want to know more about him. Like I want to see him. I need to see a photo of him. So since my mom told me, and up until this time, I had never seen a photo of him. I never knew anything about him. And up until like 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know how to spell his actual name. That's another thing. I'm talking to him and, you know, I'm like, but I don't really want to do this because I don't want to leave Freddie in the dust and whatever. Fast forward like 2 weeks. This is now like in October. I'm coming out of work. I used to work at CFSC, this banking job, which to this day I always say that that's like one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had. Like I used to cash checks and do Western Union and stuff. Like it was a really fun job. I had a really good time at that job. A friend that I had at that time actually put me on to that job. So as soon as I had came back from DR, I had a job lined up already for me, which was really cool because I wasn't able to go to college for a long time because like of financial reasons and stuff. I was able to do this job. Now I'm at this job, whatever, I'm getting out of work, and I just like, I couldn't get it out of my head. This guy that I don't know about, which is Jason. So I'm on the train and I'm on Facebook, like writing Jason and his last name, Jason. I find nothing. I find this girl that has the same last name as him, and she's about my age at that time. So I had remembered like a story that my mom had told me once about my biological father, Jason, him having this other woman pregnant while my mom was pregnant as well. She even knew the girl's name, which was like great for me. So I found her. Then I go on her profile. I start seeing like photos, and I click on this guy that's tagged, and I'm like, oh, here's Jason. Duh. So I find Jason. I go to his, because it like sent me to his Instagram. So I go to his Instagram. So as I'm finding this information, I'm like, oh my god, like I need to tell somebody. So I call the boyfriend that I was with at that time, which a lot of you guys should know. His name is Will. I was talking to Will at this time, and I tell Will, and I'm like, oh my god, like I activated my Facebook and I found him. I found this girl that I guess is my sister, and like I don't know what to do. He's like, okay, write him, like tell him what you want to say, like tell him what you're telling me. And I'm like, okay, no problem. On October 18th, 2017, I wrote to him. I said, hi, I'm Sydney, your daughter. I am so shocked to have found you on Instagram. I have so many mixed emotions, but I would love to meet you. I hope you feel the same. My number is, and I told him my number. The day after, so I wrote to him at 8:37. The day after that, he wrote to me, and he wrote to me at 11:39 a.m. and he says, hello, Sydney. If what you say is true, I would love to meet you. Bro, when he said that, I threw my phone. I threw my phone because I was like, what you mean? As soon as I saw this photo of this man, I knew automatically that I was his child. Bro, I look identical to this man. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen like 1 or 2 pictures of him, because I kind of sprinkled them. You know, I'm still not there at that point where I can freely speak about my fathers the way that I want to. Like the other day, actually, it was Freddie's birthday, and I had posted him on Instagram after like so long, because I hadn't posted him in like forever. After I found out this information, after I finally met Jason, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, you know, I have my dad and I have this guy, and like I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't know what to do, so I just didn't do anything. And like I kind of isolated myself from both of them, and a lot of things happened, like, you know. And I'm really one of those people that I don't like my business out there, especially like if it's not coming from me. So like if you don't know anything that I'm talking about and you like want to like have an opinion on it, that really bothers me. So I always try to make sure like I, you know, just said and did what I did and made sure that it was correct, because I didn't like people like saying lies about me. So I kind of never really put them out there, but whatever. So he sends that to me, and I call my mom automatically, and I'm like, oh my god, can you believe what he just said to me? And I'm telling her, she's like, oh yeah, that's your father. He's very sarcastic, because my mom has always told me that I have a lot of traits of him, but it's weird because I didn't grow up with him like at all. So for me to have so many similarities to this person, it's like really strange. But anyway, she's like, oh yeah, that's him for you. That's exactly how you are, so take it in and be okay with it or whatever. So I'm like, all right, no problem. I didn't write back because I was kind of annoyed. I didn't really know, you know, what to do after that. So he had already had my number, so I was just waiting for him to write to me whenever he decided to. December 25th, that same year, 2017, he calls me. He's like, hey, like I would like to meet up with you and whatever. And during that time, like even before I wrote to him, I remember being on the phone with my mom, and I'm like telling her, oh, I don't want him to see me a kind of way. So I started like archiving a whole bunch of photos on my Instagram, like me in bathing suits and like me looking all crazy and stuff, because I just didn't want him to get that kind of impression of me. I just didn't feel like it's an accurate representation of who I am and my character. So I hid all of that, and like all these months have passed. I went to DR like 2 weeks after he had messaged me, so like I kind of forgot about it. Like I just let it go, because you know, I had been going like 4 consecutive years, like not even thinking about this man. Like I had no reason to even talk about this person like at all. You know, I had told my friends, and like that was it. Like they never brought it up again. Like we were all cool, you know, like it was fine. Now when I had to relive these things and talk about these things again with Will, I felt like, okay, now I should maybe talk to him. I'm older and I already have my friends, and like I don't need to, you know, keep doing this with people. However, I went to DR. He writes to me, he calls me in the morning at like 10 in the morning, December 25th on Christmas, and whatever, we started talking, and it was like a long talk for like an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. I feel like it was 3 hours if I'm not mistaken. And a couple weeks later, we go to Flor de Mayo and we meet up. He had to take a flight, so that was pretty cool. I can't really remember exactly what was said. All I know is that I was extremely nervous when my mom and my boyfriend at that time came to pick me up. Like I was shitting bricks. Like I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go. I was like, can we cancel? Like I had never felt this feeling in my body ever. Like it was not even an adrenaline rush. It was just nerves, like crippling nerves. Like I literally just wanted to hide and never talk again. That happened. We met. It was cool. We met again a couple other times. And around this time, Will and I were getting really serious, and we were thinking about moving in together. So I was looking for apartments, and this next time that I had met up with Jason, I had told him like, you know, we're gonna move in together, whatever. Like it's really not any of his business at the end of the day, but I was just trying to, you know, make conversation, tell him things about who I am, because he was obviously curious. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna move, whatever. He was like, oh, so soon? And I was like, there you go. That's the first thing I didn't want to hear. Like the first thing I just, you know, or I could talk to Freddie about like a billion things. And Freddie's the kind of guy that doesn't really like confrontation, you know. You can tell him something and like he'll really act like he didn't hear you, or he'll act like he didn't see something or whatever, because he just doesn't like confrontation. He just doesn't like bothering people, or, you know, acting like some kind of way that he's not. He's always been like the pushover parent, if you know what I mean. I felt comfortable when I told Freddie, so I was like, okay, I could tell Jason, like it doesn't matter. And I'm with my mom, and my mom's like, you know, they've been dating for a while now, and like if she feels okay, then she's allowed to. Sorry, it stopped filming my card. But anyways, point is, at that time, like I was already annoyed. Like, who the hell are you to try to be giving me parental advice? You're not even my real dad. Like, you know, in my mind, you're not my real dad, because I already have a real dad who doesn't treat me like this. But it turns out, you know, obviously he's like trying to look out for me or whatever. He doesn't really know me. He doesn't know what to say to me. He's never been obviously put in this kind of predicament. So I had to take it easy on him. Over the last 4 years, trying to get to know Jason and still maintaining my relationship with Freddie, because, you know, that is my dad no matter what. Even though I even call my mom my dad, because for the years that Freddie was absent, my mom was the superhero, the one that made sure everything happened well and made sure nothing was missing for me and everything, you know. She was the best. But I always give credit as well to Freddie, because he was there for me a lot of the time. And now with Jason, it's kind of, you know, hit and miss. Sometimes I get into a mood where I'm like, I do not care about this man. Like, I don't want to have any kind of association, because like, he can be rude, and the kind of rude that I'm talking about is the kind of rude that I used to be and that I didn't like to be, so I stopped being that way. But now it's like, I gotta see it. And my mom said it best the other day. She was like, you're seeing yourself in a way that you don't like it. You see yourself in him, so it kind of pushes you away, because those are the characteristics of yourself that you don't like. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, who likes somebody that talks this bad to them? Like, nobody. That's why I'm not like that anymore. I'm trying to build something good with both of them. You know, I don't like to exclude anybody. I don't like to make anybody feel less than or anything. But at the end of the day, you know, there are levels. And I just want people to understand that there are levels, and there are people who have different spots in my life. My dad is the mechanic guy. I call him for anything that's going wrong with my car, like, hey, you know, I don't know what the hell to do. And you know, that's where I've learned so much of my life, so many things that I know about cars, for example, from my dad, because that's just his hobby and that's what I know. But with Jason, you know, there are other things that I've learned more about myself than anything else, but it's been pretty cool. It feels like really good to talk about this, because I've never really been able to talk about this in length and actually have people like listen to what the hell I'm saying, or actually like anybody to care, you know. This is like really for anybody who's ever felt like a misfit, anybody who has ever like longed for something in their life, because I've always wanted to know how come I had like a deformity. I have a deformity, I guess you can say, like with my... I'll talk about that in another video, okay? That's like a really heavy topic for me to talk about, and like not many people know about it. So this sounds really bad. Like, it's nothing crazy. You are actually adopted. If you are ever in a place where you're like, oh, I don't fit in or whatever, I feel like it's because like there is actually something missing, you know? Because now I have like this relief of, okay, I know him, I know my dad, I know my mom, like I'm okay. Now who am I, you know? Like, who do I want to identify as? I feel like I've been able to move forward, and now especially I've been able to see things more like clearly. See it as like, okay, I got these things from my dad, I got these things from my other dad, I got these things from my mom, and like I am who I am because of these people, sure, but I'm gonna create what I want moving forward. You know, like there's nothing holding me back anymore. I don't have any more questions. I mean, I kind of have a couple, but not really who I am kind of questions. Not questions that are like as important as they used to be to me, you know? I never knew what box to click. Am I Hispanic? Am I black? Am I white? Am I Asian? Like I didn't know. I didn't know anything. Now, you know, I still don't know what box to click. I just hit other. I don't really know. Sometimes I hit Hispanic when I'm feeling it. I don't know. And I can't wait until we get into a society where like none of that matters, because it drives me crazy, because I still don't know what I feel more as. I feel obviously Dominican, but like that's a lie. And I don't want to be one of these weird people or seen as like this weird person that's just taking a culture that's not really running through their veins, when, you know, in all actuality I have this other culture that is in my veins that I had known nothing about. So I mean, I think it's really our decision. I know now moving forward like what I'm gonna do with myself and how I feel about both Freddie and Jason. And I hope you have learned something about me that helps you understand like why I am the way I am and how come I choose to be the way that I am. And you know, I do keep things private, because if I'm not allowed to say all of this, then I don't want to say nothing, because what is the reason? Oh, some people might ask like, why didn't like my mom and my dad, or my mom and Jason stay together while I was growing up or something? That kind of question is very touchy for both of them. My mom just felt like it wasn't the right decision, and you know, she obviously wasn't gonna have but she obviously wanted to keep me, and nobody was gonna stop her. And that was it. So I guess it just didn't work out. I don't really want to put their business out there, because like this really has nothing to do with me, but at the end of the day it kind of does. It's actually pretty funny though. If you ever meet my mom, she'll tell you the story about like before she even had me, she always said like she wanted me, basically, like who I am. And I find that so funny. My mom was manifesting before manifesting was even a thing. But I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out to watch this video, listen to me, listen to what I have to say. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave them in the comments. I'll definitely answer them. I am gonna do more videos like this because I just feel like this whole like my hair journey and all of that stuff, like it's also a touchy topic for me because it was around this time when I didn't know what the hell to do. I don't know, I hope to be able to continue to enlighten people and help people in any way that I can, and with anything that they have going on. You know, I've always felt like a misfit, and even now to this day, like now that I know the truth about who I am, I kind of see like how I don't relate to some Dominicans or some people, a lot of people in a lot of things. You know, most of my friends are doing great, like they all have their bachelors, like they're all in great jobs, like everybody's doing good, and here I am like being this entrepreneur in school now because I feel like I need to be in school because I like school and I actually want a degree, but doing all of this stuff that a lot of people just look at it like weird. But it's like, I was destined for this. I was destined to be something, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I hope you guys can help me. I hope I can come up with another idea, another video that can give you a little bit of more insight of who I am and where I come from. There are some rough things that I will talk about, and I hope you guys stick along for it. So while I'm on my journey, I hope that you are coming with me. I'm sending you great vibes, love. You have a place with me. You can DM me, follow me on Instagram, write to me in the comments. But we're friends, we're besties. We're besties. I just finished telling you guys my biggest secret, and I don't know how this is gonna go. I hope it goes well. I really do. I don't know how to end this video. I thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you and you in the back soon. Do you see the vibes? Okay, bye.